Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's we're going to be talking about Carvana yet again because we've got some pretty big updates. Before getting into the video though, as always, you're going to save time and money the next time you purchase a car. Link to my car buying guide in the description down below. Let's dive right into it. So the big news is that Carvana just laid off a bunch of employees, and we all saw this coming because there's a lot of tech companies that are laying off employees right now, and well, Carvana's having a ton of issues, and so we'll dive into that. But first off, they laid off about 1,500 people. This accounts for about 8% of their total workforce. Most of these positions that were laid off were in the corporate side of things and then also on the tech side of things for Carvana. However, they have also been shutting down locations, and so they've been laying off the people that worked at those locations. So people that, wash the cars, for example. And so yeah, this just shows what's to come for Carvana, and let's get into that. Let's dive into the different positions that are getting laid off at Carvana and why they're getting laid off. So the first two categories, the tech side of things and then also the corporate side of things, you can actually kind of merge them together as to why they're getting laid off. So I happen to be lucky enough to know quite a few people that are either really high up in tech companies or they actually own tech companies. And this is what I've been hearing is over the last couple of years, growth has been exponential. And so hiring has been exponential. They've just been trying to get as many people as possible to continue that growth curve. Well, that growth has now pretty much completely stopped, and now it's reversing. And so what these companies are realizing is we have too many people and we have a lot of redundancies within our company. Like there are a lot of people that are getting paid a lot of money and they're not actually doing anything, right? We have that whole quiet quitting thing, and well, tech companies are realizing it. And so they're just laying off people because they want to just tighten things up and they want to become a lot more efficient. And that's what's happening with Carvana. I mean, you look at how much they've declined and it makes sense as to why they're going to get rid of these, what I would call fluff positions. And this always happens when you have an economy that increases at a really rapid rate. You get zombie positions within companies and you get entire zombie companies that are literally worthless unless the economy is just doing absolutely amazing. If the economy is not doing amazing, then the companies don't actually make sense. And again, certain positions don't make sense. So that's what's happening on that side of things. Now, the other people that are getting laid off because, well, the Carvana locations that they work at are getting closed down, and this is also happening for a number of reasons. So first off, you have Carvana's overall volume starting to decline. So since they're not selling as many cars, they're not going to need as many locations. And then on top of that, they have locations that are just getting shut down because they've lost their dealer's license in the state that location resides in, because Carvana still can't seem to figure out the whole title situation issue. Again, if you don't know, Carvana seems to really struggle with getting titles from customers. And so what will happen is they'll get a car traded in and then they'll sell it to someone else and they never got the title. Like, you can't do that. So of course states are going to say, nope, you're not a car dealer anymore until you figure out this whole issue. And well, it's not getting figured out, so they're closing down locations. So then people are obviously getting laid off that worked at those locations. And so what that means is that yes, Carvana is trimming some fat on one side of the company, but then they're also trimming, important stuff that will actually help their company grow, i.e. extra locations and people that are actually working to provide value to the company. So they're in the situation where things are only going to get worse for them. Now let's talk about what this means for Carvana in the short term and then also in the long term as well. So in the short term, this is a desperate attempt to basically keep people invested and maybe get more people to invest into Carvana, because they're like, hey, yeah, we just lost hundreds of millions of dollars last quarter and we're going to lose hundreds of millions of dollars next quarter, but don't worry. We're laying off some big wig corporate people, and we're also laying off some tech heads, and that'll lower costs and everything will work out. But it's not going to work. We all know that. And the stock price shows, because nobody's investing in Carvana. The share price is still like $8 a share, and this isn't investing advice or anything, but I don't see it going up anytime soon, or actually ever. It's probably just going to continue to go down. And so in the long term, this just goes along with Carvana's general trend that they are eventually going to go out of business. They've been around for a decade roughly at this point. They've never had a profitable quarter. Well, actually, they've had one profitable quarter, and it was during a time that everyone in the car industry was so ridiculously profitable that it just doesn't make any sense, because it's kind of like a fluke basically, and that's when Carvana was able to be profitable. Aside from that, they don't make money. Like, they're not a company that makes money. They are what I will call a quote-unquote zombie company. Again, not investing advice. I guess I have to say that because I'm saying that they're going to go out of business, but I think the writing's on the wall at this point. They are not only laying off positions that are completely worthless on the corporate side of things and on the tech side of things, but they are also laying off positions that are actually helping the company grow and make more money, i.e. people that work at their physical locations that actually, facilitate the delivering of vehicles. And so it's all bad news for them. Let's talk about some other general trends that we're seeing with Carvana, and then we'll just sum things up for today's video. So first off, overall profitability is down by a massive amount. They're making less money per car and they're selling fewer cars. And so, it makes sense that they're laying off all these people because they just can't afford to pay them, because they realize that they're just going to continue to hemorrhage money. And so that trend is going to continue. They're going to continue to sell fewer and fewer cars because that's the direction the overall car market's going in. And they're going to continue to make less and less money per car because, again, that's another trend that the car market is starting to go in. And then on top of that, what a lot of people have been saying is that general quality with Carvana cars has always been bad, but it seems to be getting even worse because they just still don't seem to understand how to properly purchase good quality cars because their inspection process is still complete garbage. And yeah, I'm sure that there will be people that'll comment down below that they got an amazing car from Carvana, but here's the deal. They're probably in the minority, because what you're hearing time and time again at this point is that people will buy a car from Carvana and they'll either not get their title or something will be seriously wrong with that car, and they just end up returning it because they're like, yep, this is not worth the brain damage. Now, to sum things up, let's talk about what you should do as a buyer in regards to dealing with Carvana, or if you should even deal with Carvana, and just kind of sum things up for today's video. So first off, I guess that this is not financial advice or whatever. I have to say it as a disclaimer to not get sued by Carvana, but I just wouldn't buy from them. Like, I don't think that it is worth the risk, because again, I've had so many people that work for Carvana that have told me about all of the quality issues that their cars have. Like, every single day I get either an email or a message on Instagram of someone saying, hey, I just saw your Carvana video and I happen to work for Carvana and this is what I'm seeing. This is crazy. And it's like, wow, this is actually crazy. So it just doesn't seem like their cars are worth it from a quality perspective, because they just buy crappy cars. And yes, they do end up auctioning off a lot of these crappy cars, but some of them make it to the front line where you can actually buy them. And yeah, that's just a mess. And then again, the whole title issue is a really big issue, because you're literally flipping, well, it's not a 50-50 chance, but you're kind of flipping a coin and going, oh, do I want to be part of the 5 to 10% that's never going to get my title because Carvana never got the title in the first place? And then what you have to do in that situation, if you don't know, is you have to basically fight with Carvana and with whatever state that you live in for, sometimes people have literally said months at a time before you actually end up getting your title. And if you don't know the inner workings of the car business, i.e. you haven't worked in the car business, then good luck to you, because there's just a lot of stuff that you have to do to actually get a title if you have purchased a car and the company you purchased the car from never got the title in the first place. It's an absolute mess, and that's why states are banning Carvana. That's why states are getting rid of Carvana's dealer's license, because they know that they don't want anything to have to do with a company that cannot get titles for people because of how messy it is from a legal standpoint. And so you just have to sit back and ask yourself, like, yeah, maybe I could get this Carvana car for cheaper, which, spoiler alert, it's not going to happen because Carvana's prices seem to be higher than everyone else's. But let's just say hypothetically, you could get it for cheaper. Do you really want to go through all of the brain damage associated with, trying to get a title if that happens? Again, I don't think that that is worth it. And I guess that's the other thing I forgot to mention with general trends, is that Carvana's pricing seems to continue to be increasing over time, even though the used car market is declining. Yet their trade-in offers are decreasing, and in a lot of cases, their trade-in offers are lower than a lot of other companies. And so, yeah, it's just a mess. And some people will say that they like the Carvana way because they don't have to deal with grimy dealerships. But you know what? I would much rather deal with a grimy dealership and know that not only am I getting a car that has actually been inspected, but I'll actually get the title to the car that I am purchasing, and I'd be able to buy the car for cheaper compared to what I'd be able to get it for from Carvana. Because, well, if a business doesn't make money, then they can't give good deals to their consumers. And I mean, a quick little example that I'll give is Tesla, right? Tesla is extremely profitable. I know that this is a new car company versus a, used car wholesaler is basically what Carvana is at this point. But Tesla is super profitable. And do they pass on all their profits to their customers? No. But what that means is that they can, if they want to, versus a company that isn't profitable, i.e. Carvana, they can't pass down profits that don't exist. So yeah, the gig is up. Carvana is going to die. It's probably going to take, 1 to 2, maybe 3 years, but just trust me, with how high interest rates are and with how much the car market's declining, they will eventually be out of business. And some of you will have experienced the Carvana experience, but hopefully it's the good one and it's not the, I bought a car and the engine doesn't work and I don't have a title to it. And yeah, that'll sum things up. I'll see ya.